Exploring the realms of psychological phenomena uncovers the intriguing and often enigmatic facets of the human psyche. Here's a brief look into some of these fascinating effects. Ambiguity Effect. We often sidestep decisions with unclear outcomes, preferring the comfort of known over the uncertainty of the unknown. This aversion reflects our natural desire for certainty. Assembly Bonus Effect. Collaborating as a group unlocks superior outcomes than what individuals could achieve alone, showcasing the power of collective effort and complementary strengths. Social Facilitation. Our performance on tasks improves in the company of others, a testament to how social presence can enhance our abilities and drive us to excel. Barnum Effect. Vague and general personality descriptions feel eerily accurate, leading us to accept broad statements as personalized insights, illustrating our tendency to seek personal relevance. Birthday Number Effect. A peculiar fondness for the digits in our birth dates over others showcases our bias towards personally significant numbers, highlighting a form of numerological attachment. Name Letter Effect. Preferring letters from our own names demonstrates a subtle form of narcissism, revealing how personal identification influences our preferences and choices. Boomerang Effect. Attempts to persuade can backfire, leading individuals to adopt opposing stances, especially when pressures feel too forceful or manipulative, highlighting the value of subtlety in persuasion. Bouba-Kiki Effect. The association of soft sounds with round shapes and sharp sounds with spiky shapes illustrates how our senses intertwine, influencing our perceptions in unexpected ways. Diffusion of Responsibility. In groups, we feel less compelled to act, assuming others will step in, a phenomenon that can lead to inaction in situations requiring help. Bystander Effect. The presence of others makes us less likely to help, influenced by shared responsibility and uncertainty about who should act first, illustrating social dynamics in crisis situations. Cheerleader Effect. Individuals appear more attractive in groups than alone, a perception bias that enhances the appeal of individuals when viewed as part of a collective. Cocktail Party Effect. Our ability to focus on a single conversation amidst a cacophony of sounds showcases the selective nature of our attention and auditory processing capabilities. Contrast Effect. Our judgments can be skewed by prior stimuli, with perceptions of quality or attractiveness influenced by recent comparisons, highlighting the relativity of our evaluations. Crespi Effect. The motivation of rats in a maze varies with the size of rewards, illustrating how expectations and prior experiences shape effort and performance. Curse of Knowledge. Expertise can cloud our ability to empathize with novices, as familiarity with a subject makes it hard to understand the perspective of someone less knowledgeable. Diderot Effect. Acquiring a new item often triggers a chain reaction of consumption, illustrating how one purchase can lead to another in a cycle of escalating desire. Einstellung Effect. Familiar solutions can blind us to simpler alternatives, showcasing how prior knowledge can sometimes hinder problem-solving and creativity. Endowment Effect. Valuing our possessions more highly than if we didn't own them highlights the psychological impact of ownership on perceived value and attachment. Cryptomnesia. Mistaking a forgotten memory for a new idea can lead to unintentional plagiarism, a phenomenon that underscores the complexities of memory and creativity. DRM Paradigm. False memories of words not presented in a list, but thematically related, shows how our memories can be influenced and reshaped by suggestion and association. Flynn Effect. The consistent rise in IQ scores across generations suggests improvements in education, health, and environment, reflecting societal progress in intellectual development. Generation Effect. Information we generate ourselves is remembered more vividly than what we simply read, highlighting the benefits of active engagement and personal involvement in learning. Self-fulfilling prophecy. Expectations can shape reality, with beliefs about outcomes influencing behaviors and actions in a way that brings those expectations to fruition. Golem Effect. Lower expectations lead to poorer performance, demonstrating how negative assumptions can impact outcomes, underscoring the power of belief in shaping abilities. Digital amnesia. Over-reliance on digital devices for information storage leads to a decline in memory retention, highlighting the cognitive costs of technological convenience. Hawthorne Effect. Being observed changes behavior, suggesting that awareness of scrutiny can motivate individuals to alter their actions, a phenomenon with implications for research and management. Hedonic treadmill. Our happiness levels tend to revert to a baseline despite significant life changes, indicating the adaptive nature of human contentment and the pursuit of happiness. Hostile media effect. Strong pre-existing opinions can make neutral coverage seem biased, reflecting our tendency to interpret information through the lens of our beliefs. Hot-cold empathy gap. Underestimating the influence of emotional states on decision-making and behavior, this gap highlights the difficulty in predicting our actions under different emotional conditions. Imposter syndrome. Despite external success, the persistent doubt in one's abilities and fear of being exposed as a fraud illustrates the internal struggle with self-perception and achievement. Irrelevant speech effect. The disruptive impact of background speech on task performance, even when unrelated or in a different language, underscores the challenges of multitasking and concentration. Cupid-doll effect. The instinctual caregiving response triggered by infantile features highlights the evolutionary predisposition towards nurturing and protecting young, reflecting the biological basis of parental instincts. Kuleshov effect. The inferred meaning from the juxtaposition of two sequential shots demonstrates the power of context and sequencing in shaping narrative and emotional responses in film. Lady Macbeth effect. The desire to wash away guilt through physical cleansing illustrates the psychological link between moral transgressions and the need for purification, a symbolic attempt to clear one's conscience. Less is better effect. The preference for a smaller option when evaluated in isolation, but not in comparison, reveals the contextual nature of our judgments and decision-making processes. Levels of processing effect. The depth of mental engagement affects memory strength, with deeper processing leading to more durable and accessible memories, highlighting strategies for effective learning and retention. Matthew effect. Early achievements in learning pave the way for future success, whereas initial difficulties can lead to a cumulative disadvantage, emphasizing the importance of early educational interventions. Microwave auditory effect. The perception of sounds induced by pulsed radio frequencies highlights the intersection of sensory perception and electromagnetic energy, exploring the limits of human auditory capabilities. Misinformation effect. Post-event information can distort memories, challenging the reliability of eyewitness accounts, and highlighting the malleability of human memory under the influence of suggestion. Naive realism. The belief in an objective perception of reality, despite contrasting views, underscores the challenges in acknowledging subjective biases and the complexity of understanding diverse perspectives. Negativity effect. Negative experiences have a disproportionately large impact on our psychological state, emphasizing the stronger influence of adverse events over equally positive ones. Observer expectancy effect. Researchers' expectations can subtly influence study outcomes, a reminder of the subjective elements that can affect the objectivity of scientific research. Outgroup homogeneity effect. Perceiving outgroup members as more alike than they are, this effect highlights the cognitive shortcuts that contribute to stereotyping and prejudice. Overjustification effect. External incentives can undermine intrinsic motivation, shifting the basis for engagement from personal interest to external rewards, with implications for motivation and behavior. Pluralistic ignorance. Misconceptions about the majority opinion can lead individuals to conform to perceived norms, illustrating the social dynamics that influence public behavior and attitudes. Pratfall effect. Competence combined with humanizing mistakes can increase likability, demonstrating the balance between perfection and relatability in shaping social perceptions. Certainty effect. Preference for certain outcomes over uncertain ones illustrates risk aversion, while risk-taking increases with uncertain outcomes, highlighting the complexities of decision-making under uncertainty. Pygmalion effect. Elevated expectations can enhance performance, showing the power of positive beliefs and expectations in facilitating achievement and self-improvement. Rhyme as reason effect. Rhyming statements are perceived as more truthful, showcasing the influence of stylistic elements on the perceived credibility and acceptance of information. Ringelmann effect. Individual productivity declines as group size increases, attributed to diffusion of responsibility and coordination challenges, emphasizing the complexities of group dynamics on performance. Self-reference effect. Personal relevance enhances memory retention, indicating the role of self-related processing in enhancing the encoding and retrieval of information. Stroop effect. The interference between the automatic process of reading and the task of color naming illustrates the complexities of cognitive processing and attention. Sleeper effect. The delayed effectiveness of messages from less credible sources as their origin is forgotten, highlighting the temporal dynamics of persuasion and credibility. Spacing effect. Distributed learning over time is more effective than massed learning, emphasizing the benefits of spaced repetition in enhancing memory retention and learning outcomes. Subadditivity effect. The underestimation of the whole compared to its parts in probability judgments, illustrating cognitive biases in how we evaluate risk and uncertainty. Tamagotchi effect. Emotional attachments to inanimate objects or digital entities reflect the human capacity for empathy and connection, extending beyond traditional social relationships. Telescoping effect. Misjudging the timing of events, with recent events perceived as more distant and distant events as more recent, challenges our temporal accuracy and memory. Tetris effect. Prolonged engagement with an activity influences thoughts and perceptions, demonstrating the impact of repetitive activities on cognitive patterns and mental imagery. Ventriloquism effect. The perceived source of sounds is influenced by visual cues, illustrating the integration of sensory information and the dominance of visual input in spatial localization. Isolation effect. Distinct stimuli stand out and are better remembered among homogeneous items, emphasizing the role of uniqueness and novelty in enhancing memory and attention. Well-traveled road effect. Familiar routes are perceived as shorter, highlighting how familiarity and repetition influence our perception of time and distance. Word frequency effect. Frequent exposure to words enhances recognition speed, underscoring the influence of exposure and familiarity on language processing and memory. Worse than average effect. Underestimating personal abilities relative to others reflects a common bias in self-assessment, highlighting the complexities of self-evaluation and confidence. Zeigarnik effect. Unfinished tasks are more memorable than completed ones, suggesting that ongoing tasks maintain a more prominent place in our cognitive processes. Uncanny valley. Near-human figures elicit unease, exploring the delicate balance between realism and discomfort in our responses to artificial entities. Mass hysteria. Shared symptoms among a group without a clear cause demonstrate the power of collective psychological states, influenced by social dynamics and environmental factors. Streisand effect. Efforts to suppress information often lead to increased attention, underscoring the counterintuitive effects of attempts at control in the digital age. These snapshots into the human mind reveal the diversity and complexity of psychological phenomena, each offering insights into how we think, feel, and interact with the world around us.